It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show. And this is episode 67. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Monday, February 19th, 2024. Coming at you, a day late and a dollar short. But that is because today is President's Day holiday in America. So I do not have to work my normal job today. So I have an extended long weekend going on. So I decided to do the podcast this morning so I could play some games and have a great weekend and have some things to talk about here on this show today. So shout out to President's Day for giving me a day off of work. And shout out to you for being here listening to the Dep Lewis Show once again. Possibly you have the day off too if you're listening real time. So hopefully you're having a great day. Seems pretty sunny out. Seems like a good day to be off. It's just a little bit cold where I live. But other than that, I've been playing some video games and here to talk about them. So welcome to the show out there in the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing great. So the first order of business, just to help me out more than you already are by listening, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show anywhere you can find a podcast. So places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and Buzzsprout is a great hub to find all the places to listen to the podcast or listen to it on Buzzsprout. Either way you want to do it. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. I've been throwing the stream on a little more randomly and been sort of targeting Thursday night, so look out for me then. And then Patreon.com/DepLewisShow for a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. And I'll tell you more about this at the end. So you definitely want to hear about that. So this is the Dep Lewis Show. We always have three sections of the show. The first section is what video games have been playing since I've last talked to you. And then the middle section, the mid section we sometimes call it, or I sometimes call it, is the video game news. So anything going on around the video game landscape that I think is interesting that I want to tell you about and keep you abreast of and aware of. And that is the mid section of the show today. And then the final section of the show is always miscellaneous talk. So anything outside of the video game world that I want to talk to you about. So it's usually the worldwide world of sports. And today, that is no different. We're going to get into the worldwide world of sports at the end of the show. I've been to a few games in person since I've last talked to you. So it's been a pretty great week for me video game wise and sports wise. And I have this extra day off of work. So I really can't complain about any of that. So just welcome to the show. And let's get into the video games. So let's see what we got here. So the first section of the show is what I've been playing. So I've been a little bit all over the place with playing some games, but the first one I want to talk about is Baldur's Gate 3. So this is a game from last year. I'm playing this on my PlayStation 5. I have restarted my file. I lost my prior save when I had a digital PlayStation 5, and maybe a month or so ago I traded it in and got a PlayStation 5 Slim with a disc drive. So at that point, I didn't think I had any saves to worry about. I finished Spider-Man, and that was kind of like, okay, I'm going to finish Spider-Man on this, and I think I'm finally going to go make this exchange. So I finished Spider-Man 2. I go in there, exchange, come out with this new PS5 Slim. I'm loving it. And friend of the show, Samfi, is really into Baldur's Gate 3 right now, and he's been playing it, and we've been talking about it. So I'm like, hey, I want to get back into this. Even if I don't commit to finishing it all, I want to make some progress and chip away at it a little bit over time. So I go to pick up my file and there is nothing to be found. So I did not have PlayStation Plus, so I couldn't back things up to the cloud. I didn't really even think about it. So I just lost my progress on, I think her name was Vin, a warlock named Vin. And what do you know, I'm playing a warlock named Vin once again. So I do think my character looks cooler this time. I know a little bit more about what's going on, so I feel like that's helping me out in the early stages. But I'm still seeing things. Well, I'm seeing things I haven't seen before. So this game is really, really fun. And my whole thoughts on this are to play it every once in a while, make some progress, and not have any giant commitment trying to finish a 100-hour plus video game. But I would like to keep playing this, making some progress, and possibly get together with Sanfi at some point and play some co-op over the interwebs. So I'm looking for Larian Studios to add cross-play into this game, and they said that was a priority they said at the end of last year, hey, one of our big priorities is to get crossplay added. So I think we could see Sanfi and I doing some type of co-op campaign and sort of tackle it. Maybe try to play it once a month, every other week, try to get together just whenever we can find some time and make some progress in that. And, I'm thinking making partially a little bit of like a series on it. Maybe I can upload some videos. Maybe we can stream these. Thinking that could be a fun thing to do. So should be getting some more Baldur's Gate 3 content on the show. I was really into that. I've been really into it on and off. So I think it's a great game. And there's just been something else I've been playing since yesterday that has taken up my time a little bit. So I don't know. I'm all over the place a little bit with video games. I've been on a hot streak of completing some things, and now I am dipping and dabbling into some other things again. So I guess that's just how it's going to go. But Baldur's Gate 3, I'm playing a Warlock. Her name's Vin. I'm using Eldritch Blast on everybody. I have Asterion. I have Gale. I have Shadowheart, who's still my number one favorite. And I have the lady we meet at the beginning. I can't remember her name, but she's very grumpy. And when you meet her again, she's also very grumpy. So I have booted Asterion from my party for this lady, but I don't know if I'm going to keep her. Maybe I'll go get Asterion back, even though he is a troublemaker. But this lady is being rude to me and being rude to Shadowheart, so I don't know if I can be handling that up on the Baldur's Gate. But Baldur's Gate 3, so I'm playing a Warlock, and I actually watched Sanfi stream some, so he's really making some good progress. He's pretty far into it. He's still playing a fighter, but he's multi-classing, so he was telling me the benefits of multi-classing. So that's probably something good to check out. And I am still in the early stages, so I feel too noob-like to really be grafting it, to be worrying about multi-classing. But hopefully I'm going to get there at some point, and I should probably be looking at it right now, according to Sanfi. So it's probably good advice, so take that into consideration out there. I think you can basically respec your characters to fill different roles and maybe do it sooner than later. If you really aren't liking something from the beginning, it seems like you can go ahead and do this. I don't think it's very expensive to do, and it doesn't take much in-game currency. And what else do I have on Baldur's Gate 3? I just think it's really, really good. I think the dialogue's really awesome. The only thing I might not be sold on, I don't know if I want to say this, but maybe the combat. So I just don't know if it's my style. I do like Fire Emblem combat. It's kind of similar, but I just do not know. But I'm playing another game I've just started that has some, it's in the same vein. This is an RPG. It's its own kind of style RPG. It's the third person. You're moving around, and then once you get to battle, it's more of like a grid-like thing. So I don't know. I'm just kind of figuring through. I've never really completed one of these type of RPGs before. I don't know if you classify this as like a Skyrim. It's pretty close, but I feel it's a little more. It's closer to a traditional RPG than that, I would say. So I don't know. But Baldur's Gate 3, really awesome. A lot of great content to talk about there, and you'll probably see some more content on the show and on video form for Baldur's Gate 3 in the future. So Baldur's Gate 3, definitely recommend it. It's out on multiple platforms, waiting on the crossplay. That is the main summary of Baldur's Gate 3 for this week. All right, so something else that I've been playing that I was just alluding to a little bit is Persona 3 Reload. So I've been playing this. I downloaded this on Game Pass. I finally decided to do that. It's on Game Pass right now if you want to go play it. And I downloaded it yesterday and started playing some of it just to start playing something on Xbox again. And, oh yeah, that's the other thing. So I now have an Xbox Series S again. So like I said, I made that change to get the PlayStation 5 digital. So I was Xbox-less for a couple, maybe a month or whatever it was. But I was deciding I wanted to pick up a Series S to fill that need in case there's ever an exclusive and I do have Xbox Live on there for until August. So, I mean, it was really making me not want to pay for PS Plus more than a month since I already had pretty much a whole year paid for over there. So I bit the bullet. They're actually on sale right now, and I bit the bullet and picked up a Series S. So now I am back whole as a video gamer. I have the holy trinity of the consoles to play, and that has been giving me access back to Game Pass. So I wanted to try Persona 3 Reload. I was thinking about buying that as well. But that was another good argument for just picking up the Series S because I already have Game Pass, and that would save, not saving money, but it might in the long run. So I'm back on the Xbox. I have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate going on. So I've been playing some Persona 3 Reload. So, shout out to Game Pass for being a great resource a lot of times. And this is one of those cases. So Persona 3 Reload is a captivating reimagining of the genre-defining RPG reborn for the modern era. That's what they're telling you. And I have some familiarity with the Persona series. I've watched a lot of Persona 4 when Giant Bomb used to do a, what did they used to call it? Endurance run. And they played all through Persona 4. I used to watch a lot of that. And then I've actually played a decent bit of Persona 5. I played Persona 5, I guess you'd say it's vanilla. And then I played Persona 5 Royal, probably for about the same amount of time. So I'm probably 30, 35 hours into each of those. So I've seen the intro twice, like I do in a lot of games, I'm realizing. Restarting and things like that. But, that's what I do. Or that's what I've been doing. So, but I really love these games. I listened to the soundtrack for Persona 5 a whole lot. So I wanted to try this. This is on Game Pass. It's looking really cool. I've heard a little bit of a mixed bag on reviews out there. I've heard some pretty good things. And I've also heard some pretty, not negative, but just really lukewarm things on playing this. But I've been having a whole lot of fun with this. I definitely see the similarities to Persona 5 Royal, and it's making me realize how much more of a franchise this is. They have some really, really big commonalities across these three that I wasn't necessarily realizing, but you do see them really early on in this game, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, I know what I'm getting into here. But the beginning of this game has been, I think I'm 2 hours in, maybe a little bit over that, and I just started playing last night, so I've been making some good progress. You're just kind of going day by day in this game, which I think is really cool too. It gives you a pretty good stopping point for hitting a save, or if you'd like to. So you just basically need to get it to the end of a day, and the day can consist of a lot of different things. It can just be going to school in this game. It can be a day off where you mainly sleeping, or it can be a day like I just did where you're going to explore a dungeon. So it's called Tartarus. The one guy keeps joking about it's called tartar sauce, and he's made that joke a few times, so I'll probably call it tartar sauce sometimes. But I am exploring Tartarus. It seems like the main big dungeon that you're exploring in this game. So you are in a high school in this game, or I guess it might be college. And the school gets changed during the dark hour, which is every night at midnight. It's the time in between the time. And the dark hour happens, and there's only certain people that can see what's going on in the dark hour, and the rest of the people in the world are sleeping. And my character happens to be one of the people that can see what's going on. So he is revealed to have a persona that he can battle with. So I'm going to take these skills to Tartarus and try to eliminate the dark hour. That's the plan of this game. So even talking to it right now, the initial setup of this game is really, really great. It's just enough of an interesting story. And it really is kind of similar to Persona 5 in a lot of ways. So I guess that's just what these games are doing. And I think I like what they're doing. So I'm going to see what kind of progress I can make here. I have this on Game Pass. I have Game Pass at least through August. And getting back my, Series S again, which I got to say too, I got to talk about the Series S a bit. It is the best form factor of a console, I feel like. It's so simple. It's so small. I had a Series S before, and I really miss that thing. So you definitely can see a little bit of the graphical differences from the Xbox Series X, but I think it's really, really minimal. And I only kind of noticed it on 2K, like a really trying to be a realistic kind of game. Persona 3 Reload looks really amazing, and I think those have been the only two that I've tried since booting it back up. But I think any game that is not trying to get the highest fidelity, I think it's going to look amazing on this still. So I think I can have this as a long-term console, and I can play like the really important stuff on my PlayStation, I guess. But just having Game Pass on this is going to be crucial. And I love the small form factor of the console, and I just like playing on the Xbox controller too. So I really can't decide between the Xbox or PlayStation fanboy-ism, or even Nintendo, but I think I like a lot of things about all of them is the real case. So Series S has been good. I definitely recommend it. I think you could totally do all your gaming on the Series S if you wanted to. I think you would be missing out on a few things, but nothing too serious, and there's a million games that are in existence today that you could fill your time with, and you would never be able to play them all. So, and they're being released all the time. So there's definitely no harm in having multiple ways to play things, because the video games are endless. But it's cool to know that you could have one of these and be fulfilled in your gaming for forever, basically. So Persona 3 Reload, the color blue is definitely very common in this game, and I like that. I think it looks very pleasing to the eye. Persona 3 is definitely a lot of reds and blacks, but this game has mainly been blue. kind of a, not really a dark blue, but just a really nice looking blue. Everything's kind of shrouded in that, and the day by day is cool, and really enjoying this game so far. I like the characters. I like your best kind of friend that you meet in the dorm seems really nice so far, and even some of the school stuff has been interesting. And it's fun walking around and hearing the flavor text, and the whole world they're building out here is really, really interesting. And I've been enjoying this more than I even thought I would. So we will see how I continue on with Persona 3 Reload, but right now it is getting the Dep Lewis Show stamp of approval. All right, so some more video games I've been playing. It's been really a random kind of week, but let's talk about NBA 2K24. This is a game that I am now back playing on the Xbox. So I already own it there, and I have Xbox Live, or I guess it's Game Pass Ultimate on that. So it was another decision to switch back over to playing NBA on the Xbox, so I don't have to pay for two online services at once. So I am back playing on the Xbox, and I think I'm actually a little bit better on the Xbox. I think it's been where I've spent the most of my time playing NBA 2K over the years. It just feels just a 0.5% more natural and better. So I don't know if it's going to translate to playing online. I haven't played anybody online yet. I've been trying to get my groove back and start some franchise seasons again. So I've started one with the Hawks, and I've started one with the Hornets, and I'll probably start another one with the Pacers again. But really just trying to get in the groove of playing NBA 2K again, and it's been pretty fun. I played one online game over the weekend, and it was pretty close, but I lost, and then I couldn't bring myself to play another online battle. So they're pretty tough. They definitely keep you engaged and are a great competition kind of thing. So something I need to keep trying to do, and something I'm going to keep doing on the Xbox, and I'm going to keep you updated on the show about those. So I've been playing some online. I've been playing mainly versus the computer, and I had one battle online the other night. It was after getting to play some games with friend of the show, Sanfi. So we've been trying to get together sometimes and play some multiplayer games. So there were 3 of us the other night, and we got to play some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So this has been my second foray back into Mario Kart in a while. We just said, hey, you want to get on around this time? And we played for, it was almost 2 hours probably. But we just played a lot of races, just talked and caught up on what was going on, and had a great time with Mario Kart. And I actually had some pretty good success. So Isabel was getting some hardware, winning some races, which was nice, and just really great game overall. So just want to shout that out as a great game to get together with some people and play, and still very fun. So it really makes me want to buy the DLC courses. I think everybody would have to have the DLC courses for us to all play them, but I am not sure about that now. Maybe if I was the party leader, I could put us into those courses. So that's something I could, that seems pretty unlikely, but that's possible. That could be pretty nice. I'm going to look into that because it's been fun. I've been even playing some Mario Kart 8 by myself, just here and there. Another great podcast game, so I'm really leaning in early in the year into some podcast games because those are things I really like, and I need to, these are, I'm kind of diving back into the well in some of these games, but I think it's been a good move. So NBA 2K24 is a great podcast game, and then Mario Kart 8 as well. And I've even been playing a little bit of the RPGs with podcast over the top, like Baldur's Gate even, but Persona 3, I've been listening to the audio and loving the music. I've heard a little bit of back and forth on the music, and I think the music's pretty cool. It kind of has like a rap vibe to it early on, which is interesting. It's kind of like old school rap, but I think the music is great, and I think that's been some of the greatest parts about the Persona game. So just wanted to bring that up as well. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I'm an Isabel main, and Isabel's one of the best characters in video gaming. So got to play some Mario Kart 8 with some friends, and that was very fun, and hopefully we'll be doing some more of that in the future. So keeping the multiplayer games alive and things like that, and even talk to Sanfi about playing some cooperative games when we can find some time. So all going to be very fun, and then also helpful for me to tell you about here on the Dep Lewis Show about some fun gaming stuff. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show today. Just was talking about the video games I've been playing in the last week. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, I've been playing Persona 3 Reload, I've been playing NBA 2K24, and I've been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then I also talked a little bit about my new Xbox Series S. So back in the Xbox side of gaming, and that's how I'm playing some of these games I'm telling you about this week. So I am able to play all the games. So we're going to take our first quick break of the show, and you're going to hear some lovely break music, and then we're going to come back for the mid-section of the show today, where I tell you about some video game news. So everything that's been going on in the video game world over the past week that I want to tell you about and keep you up to date and aware of, and that is going to be the mid-section. So listen to this wonderful music and come back in just a few. Welcome back to the mid-section of the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 67, and this is the mid-section where I tell you everything that's been going on in the video game world since I've last talked to you. So it's been over the course of a week, and let's see what kind of information I want to tell you about. So I'm going to give you all the best video game news that you need to know. So the first thing I want to talk about was Xbox had a business update. This was on February 15th at 3 p.m., and they said to please join us for a special edition of the official Xbox podcast. Hear from Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty as they share updates on the Xbox business. So they decided to release this in podcast form, and this is kind of a response to some of the leaks getting out that all these Xbox games are potentially going to other platforms, and even big games like Starfield and the new Indiana Jones game that are coming out. So those have been in the rumor mill. So this was Xbox coming out to sort of address this, and a lot of people were kind of expecting Xbox. Some of the talk here was like Xbox is going to say, hey, we're not having exclusives anymore. Hey, we're going to quit making consoles in the future. And that was, neither one of those were the case. So this was definitely a little bit confidence restoring in Xbox, even for myself. I just talked about getting a Series S again. So this was a little bit of a factor in that decision as well, that hey, I was thinking for a bit, hey, if Xbox games are all coming to PlayStation, there's really no reason to get an Xbox. So I think they wanted to get out here and make this message pretty clear. And I think, as they always like to say, it's an ever-changing world, so you never know what to expect. But at least right now, they're not having a huge divergence from what they're doing currently or what other people in the industry are even doing. So this business update, they basically announced that 4 games that they have not identified officially are going multi-platform, and Verge is reporting that they anticipate these to be Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. So I think those are probably pretty 4 great guesses. And then I believe Phil Spencer even clarified after this podcast. He said Indiana Jones and Starfield are not included in this 4, but he left the possibility up for future consideration. He didn't shut it down completely. So I think the way to summarize this is they are testing the waters with some of these things. So the most positive, I don't know if there's any negative here, but one of the better announcements from this podcast is Diablo 5 is going to Game Pass on March 28th, 2024. And they're saying this is only the beginning for Activision Blizzard games on the service. So this was another good selling point for me wanting to pick up a Series S again, trying to see how long I can go without an Xbox. But Diablo 4 is something I played some of already. I don't have the disc anymore for it. I traded that in, so this is a great way to play some more Diablo 4 on Game Pass and possibly play some multiplayer, since I have multiplayer capabilities there. So Diablo 4 is very fun, and I think it could be a fun kind of non-committal Game Pass game to get into on March 28th, 2024. So looking forward to that. That was an announcement from this business update. But here, let's see, I got some quotes. They said Xbox hardware will also continue to be a flagship experience for players and for game developers to launch games on, with a robust and innovative multi-year hardware roadmap, including more console and controller options for you this holiday. So it looks like we might be getting some more, thinking through the controller portion, we can get some more colorways, or possibly get a new Elite style controller or some type of pro model, even more pro model controller that they might want to do. And then including more console options could be there's been a rumored Xbox Series X Slim with no disk drive, and there's also rumors of an updated Series S that I think is a little more energy efficient was the main thing, but no major changes. But I think it's cool to have these. I love some different console options and console upgrades, and I don't know if I'll be in the market for one or looking to buy one, since I have a PlayStation 5 and that can play all the top end things I need to do. So I think just having my Series S as kind of a Game Pass machine and multiplayer machine is where it's going to lie for me. But these things change for me all the time. But that's the plan for right now. And then Xbox's other plan is they're saying they eventually want to make every screen an Xbox. So That's whether they're putting an app on different platforms, whether they're selling a little small TV plug-in that is, has the streaming cloud service on there, or who knows. But I think it's not a completely unique idea these days, but it's definitely something that they are pushing to the forefront of what they're telling us and saying. So it's definitely going to be a pretty big portion. But they're also saying the next gen console confirmed by them will be the largest technical leap in a hardware generation. So that's a little bit hard to believe, but I think that they want to make some type of grandiose statement, since a lot of people were speculating that they're not going to have a console for next hardware generation. So they can say it's the largest technical leap. I don't know if we're ever going to see, and this could be old man talk, but I don't know if we're ever going to see getting a console back in the day, the leap from 64 to GameCube, or 64 to Xbox, or whatever it was, or PS2 to PS3. Like, those were pretty, I guess PS2 to PS3, that's pretty big deal. You're noticing the change immediately. All the games from the prior one are not running on the new console, but these things nowadays they're more iterative, and I think that's the right word. And you can still play the games on, they'll still be releasing PS5 games for a long time when the PS6 comes out, and the lines are a lot more blurred these days. So it's a lot more like the phone market of having to buy an upgrade every so many years, but you can still use your old phone most likely up until a certain point. So it's definitely seeming the way a lot of these companies are going, and Xbox is one of those. So Xbox business update, 4 games coming to other platforms, and I think those are all good choices. They are smaller exclusives, and they're multiplayer games that could potentially get some new life on other platforms. I think all these games have been successful and have more potential to make some more money, is what they're really thinking. So Xbox business update, pretty interesting. Go listen to the official Xbox podcast if you want to hear the full length thing from the horse's mouth. And I was listening to the Xbox podcast for a long time when Larry was on there, Larry Erb. I think, yeah, that's his name. But he's no longer with the company or hosting or something. So I kind of quit listening after that. But maybe I'll pick the Xbox podcast back up into my rotation, since I love some video game podcasts. All right, so let's see. I'm going to give you the updates on these companies, because there's been a lot of talk about what's going on in the video game world. A lot of companies like to drop information, so everybody's been looking for a Nintendo Direct. But I want to report that it has not happened yet. There's no indication of getting a Nintendo Direct. And I think even this past week that there's been a rumor that a Switch 2, whatever that may be, may not even come out till 2025 now. I think that's a little bit hard to believe based on all these rumors, but as you can see, rumors are not always true, and it's just a lot of speculation for, people need to release content just like on this show. So it's something to talk about, something to speculate about, but how true it is, there's really no telling until Nintendo tells us themselves. So I don't know. I really don't know what to believe anymore. I do kind of think we're going to get that Nintendo Switch 2 this year, but I would not be completely shocked if it is next year. So no Nintendo Direct yet. I'm really on the lookout for that. Hopefully, maybe we'll see one this week. I think there were rumors that they were trying to get out of the way of the Xbox update, so maybe they can announce Hi-Fi Rush coming to Switch on their own. So maybe we'll get the Nintendo Direct this week, and the one thing I can guarantee is the Dep Lewis Show is the best place to listen to find out. So just keep listening to future episodes, and you'll be completely aware of what's going on in the video game world. So no Nintendo Direct, but let's talk about some more Nintendo stuff. So Princess Peach Showtime, which I think is my most hyped Nintendo Switch game at the moment. It releases on March 22nd, 2024, and this got a new trailer. It's about a little bit over a minute long, and we got to look at more of Princess Peach's transformations, such as Figure Skater Peach, Dashing Thief Peach, Mermaid Peach, and Mighty Peach, I guess it was. But this game's looking very fun. It's a side-scroller starring Princess Peach, so I think that's a great idea, and I'm excited to play this. So this is the next most important game I'm looking forward to on the Switch, and just wanted to let you know that there's a new trailer out for that for you to get excited for as well. All right, the best game of the Dep Lewis Show from 2022, Splatoon 3. It's long-awaited. Part of the expansion pass, and it's the side order DLC is going to actually release on February 22nd, 2024. So in this upcoming week, if you're listening in real time, you can play the side order DLC. This is a single-player campaign mode, and here's the spiel on it. As Agent 8, you wake up to discover Inkopolis Square has been drained of color, and its residents have gone missing. Alongside a drone who claims to be off-the-hook member, Pearl, ascend the floors of the Spire of Order and strengthen your abilities as you climb the tower in a single-player experience that's designed to be replayed over and over. This sounds a little bit like Tartarus in Persona 3 Reload. And the other thing I'm thinking here too is all these games these days are adding like a roguelike mode into their games. Splatoon 3, we've seen that God of War Valhalla. We saw Last of Us 2 add their mode. And I'm sure there's some other examples of this. So I think this is a very hot gameplay edition or gameplay mode right now of the time. Like every game's trying to do this. So we'll probably be getting sick of this later. But this side order DLC looks very cool just based on the art style. The initial announcement of this was very interesting and intriguing. I'm just not really a single-player Splatoon player. This game won Game of the Year for the show in 2022, and that was all based on me just playing multiplayer. So, and I still stand by that decision too. I don't think that game slipped from that spot for me at all. So Splatoon 3 is an excellent game, and I always hear how excellent the single-player content is, and the overall style and vibe and art. The art of this side order DLC looks like some of the cool stuff I've seen from the game. So I definitely would recommend it if you're a single player fan, even though I haven't played it, but something I want to watch some gameplay of, see some reviews of, and I'll keep you aware of it here on the show. But the last bit of Splatoon 3 news was there was a Splatfest over the weekend that just occurred. It was Friday through Sunday, so it just ended on the February 18th, and this was a battle for what's the best day of the week. So I did not actually participate in this Splatfest, but I do love the Splatfest and definitely love to call them out and let you know who's winning. And for this one, it was what's the best day of the week? I guess the weekend maybe was the question. And it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And on a prior episode, I said I would pick Team Saturday because that is if you work a normal Monday through Friday job, then your weekend, Saturday is your sandwich day. You don't have anything to do, or it's just a whole free day and you don't have anything to do the next day. So that was my big argument on Saturday. But actually, Team Friday was the winner. So Team Friday is a very fun day. The getting off work on Friday, if you work, Monday through Friday is an epic time. And then that night, you got the whole weekend ahead of you and you can just have a great time and let your hair down from the week that was. So those are the Splatoon 3 updates for this week. So that is going to move on. So we're going to leave the Nintendo land. So we've talked about some Xbox stuff. We talked about some Nintendo stuff. And now we are going to get into Sony stuff. So the updates from Sony this week were they had a financial call. And the most interesting thing there I heard was Sony said it will not release any major existing PlayStation franchise games before April 2025. So that is over a year without getting any PlayStation franchise games. That's pretty crazy. So Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Hiroki Totoki said regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality works and developing live service games. But while major projects are currently under development, we do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year, which is the end, April 2025, and next fiscal year like God of War Ragnarok and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So, just pretty interesting. I was listening to a podcast saying they released at least one or two of these games every year, and then talking about how many of these first-party games that Nintendo releases and how impressive that is and how impressive they keep to do it and keep doing it, and even possibly in a shift to a new console, they're still doing it. So, just something to call out. Sony is definitely known for having these big first-party franchise like games releasing from time to time, and that's been one of the biggest reasons to want to have a PlayStation. But the other thing, kind of like we talked with Xbox, some of these games now are going to PC a year later. Like we've seen God of War on PC, we have Ratchet and Clank on PC, we have Horizon Forbidden West coming to PC soon. So it's really kind of, you just haven't heard all the information if you're really shocked by what Xbox is doing or saying. And they've all been doing this for a while, so it's definitely the way things are going. Unless there's some big tide shift, back to exclusivity being the model. I really don't think it is. I think it's really going away from that, and we're going to see fewer and fewer exclusives as time moves on. So that's kind of what Sony is saying. I've also heard them say, hey, we have a lot of great third-party things coming this year. and just kind of be patient a little bit. So just interesting to call out because Sony really has been cranking out those for a long time and usually do have them. So not seeing a lot of great, I don't have really any great Xbox exclusives on the horizon I'm dying to play. And now that's the case with Sony too. So I think just thinking through it right now, I think Nintendo could have a great opportunity to announce their console, maybe announce some big game along with it, and they can really kind of steal the show. So we will see, but that's what Sony's saying on their financial call. And let's talk about some more Sony stuff. So Sony is also releasing in the near future a Pulse Elite headset. So they've released the earbuds, I believe are already out, and this is like the headset that goes over your ear. This is the next official PS5 headset from Sony, and they're touting a wealth of improvements over the original model, which debuted 3 years ago. So pre-orders for this thing are live now. It's $159.99 US dollars, so 150 USDs, and this launches in most regions on February 21st, 2024. So just a couple days if you're listening in real time, you can get this Sony Pulse Elite headset. So I'm not generally wearing a headset too often playing video games. Usually when I get together, if we're doing some multiplayer games, we just have a phone call going on alongside the video gaming. So I'm definitely not looking to buy one of these. I just have kind of a basic Razer headset for if I ever do want to do some, headset gaming or want to use the mic on it. But that's a pretty rare occasion. But these things definitely look really cool. I bet it's a cool product to own, and just want to keep you aware of what's out there to purchase. So not the last bit, but the other thing from Sony right now that's been very successful, and that is on their platform, is HellDivers 2. So I just want to bang the drum a little bit for this game. It's looking very cool. I haven't played any of it myself, but I don't know if I am the particular target demo for this game, but I've definitely thought about it. So this has been very successful. I've seen a lot of great numbers online about concurrent players and things like that. And in this game, you are fighting for freedom across a hostile galaxy in this frenetic third-person cooperative team shooter. So I think cooperative is the main term there. That is one of the main reasons I am not jumping to play into this game. I think you really need to have some other people playing with you. Join forces with up to 3 friends and wreak havoc on an alien scourge, threatening the safety of your home planet, Super Earth. In this multiplayer co-op shooter for PS5 and PC from Arrowhead Game Studios. But I've heard that this game is very funny. It has some pretty good humor in it. It's not very serious, but you were fighting these serious bug-looking guys with serious weapons. So it seems like a fun game to play. But I'm hearing that it's pretty difficult, and especially difficult if you're solo, because you can't guarantee that your team's going to be built out properly and covering each other's backs and strengths and weaknesses and things like that. But I've also heard some arguments that it's okay to play solo. It's just kind of difficult, but I am not the most difficult loving video gamer. So I don't know. This is just something I like watching and like hearing about, and I think it looks really, really cool. And especially if you're, have some friends that are into multiplayer gaming on the PC or PlayStation, this looks like something you should be trying out. And been sort of a surprise that it's been so successful to me. I don't know why it's such a surprise, but it's just the way I feel. And I think this is going to be a contender on people's Game of the Year list. I think people are really loving this game. So really, really cool. HellDivers 2, definitely be aware of it and go check it out if any of that sounds interesting. All right, so let's see here. 2 more things to talk about. This next one is a game that's been released. The only backstory on this, I haven't really seen any video of this. I haven't really looked up any reviews. And the first time I heard about this was at GameStop. When I was telling you earlier about trading in my PlayStation for the Slim model, the person at the store said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Banishers Ghost of New Eden?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." He goes, "Hey, it's coming out." I think this particular person just thought it looked really cool. I don't really think he was trying to sell it to me or give me the pre-order. I think he was really just telling me something he was interested in, and I was kind of surprised because I'd never heard of it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it here. And I have not played this yet, but I just want to make you aware of this game exists. It's on my radar a little bit to just hear more about it. I don't know if it's completely my style of video game, but it's not often that I'm not aware of like sort of a big release, I guess. But this game released on February 12th, 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. It is $59.99 US dollars, so $60. It is an action RPG developed by Don't Nod and published by Focus Entertainment. So it's New Eden, $16.95 Antea Duarte and Red Mac Wraith are lovers and banishers, ghost hunters who vow to protect the living from the threat of lingering ghosts and specters. Following a disastrous last mission, Antea is fatally wounded, becoming one of the spirits she loathes. In the haunted wilds of North America, the couple desperately searches for a way to liberate Antea from her new plight. Immerse yourself in a beautiful, intimate, and powerful story between two fated lovers. As banishers, enter the lives of New Eden's communities and solve haunting cases in a mystical, lore-rich world plagued with supernatural creatures and ancient secrets. Use your wits or combine Antea's spiritual powers and Red's arsenal to defeat and banish the souls tormenting the living. Challenging decisions will lay on your path, dramatically impacting your story and the fate of New Eden's inhabitants. Be they living people or wandering souls, how much will you compromise your ghost hunting vow for the sake of your lover who became one of such spirits? ? So that's the whole back of the box talk on this game. Seems a little bit like Dark Soulsies or a Souls-like game. And I don't know, it's just, I think a lot of studios are trying to release these styles of games. I think it's pretty tough if we don't release a popular one, because there are some games doing this to the God level or expert tier level. But I think most games are AAA games. I think people used to call these B games or 8 out of 10 games. I think they used to be more common back in the day. And maybe this is one of those. And I don't think that's a terrible thing to have different options on game styles to play. But Banishers Ghost of New Eden is a new video game out. And just want to highlight another video game because there's been a lot of great releases this year already. It's been a pretty hot year for good releases. So, this could be another one that could have been benefiting from more of a runway with other releases, but who knows? Go check out Banishers Ghost of New Eden if that sounds interesting to you. And the last bit of news I want to talk about is there was a teaser trailer. It was nearly 2 minutes long for EA Sports College Football 2025. The game that has been away for a decade, I believe it is coming back over the summer, and they're going to give us more info in May on this. So this is definitely a game I played a lot of growing up. I used to really love playing football on the video game systems. I think basketball kind of took that over for me at some point, and I think it's still the case. But college football is probably going to sell like hotcakes, and I hope they can execute this, because a lot of people have their hopes tied to this and are very excited to be playing this again. And that's a great news for the video game world as a whole, because I feel like people have been clamoring for this for a while. So you can check back to college football before next season, and hopefully they're going to make a great game. So that's going to wrap up the midsection of the show this week, telling you about all the news of the video game world over the course of the last week that I thought was interesting. So I told you about the Xbox business update, talked about there was no Nintendo Direct, but we talked about some Nintendo rumors, talked about Princess Peach Showtime, which releases March 22nd, 2024. We talked about the Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC releases on February 22nd, 2024. We got into the Sony financial call, talked about the upcoming release of the Sony Pulse Elite headset, talked a little bit about the success of HellDivers 2. We talked about the release of Banishers Ghost of New Eden. And then we talked about the announcement of EA Sports College Football 2025 coming back over the summer. So hopefully you enjoyed all that great video game news. And that is what I seek to do every week, is keep you up to date with what's going on in the video game world. So just thank you for listening. I'm going to take the final break of the show, and we're going to come back for the Miscellaneous Talk section. And we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports, and then that's going to wrap up the entire show for the week. So listen to this wonderful music, and then come back for the final section of the show in just a moment. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 67. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So the main thing here is going to be the worldwide world of sports. So I'm going to catch you up with all the happenings of my favorite teams and what's going on around the sports world. So the Carolina Panthers, the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, Julius Peppers has made it into the Hall of Fame. I want to congratulate him. He spent the major part of his career in Carolina, and definitely one of their best players of all time, and definitely deserving of a Hall of Fame induction. So shout out to number 90. He played primarily with the Panthers and the Packers, and then had a stint with the Bears, and I believe that was it. So just nice to have a win for the Panthers in that regard, and hopefully we can have another Hall of Famer one day. Would be nice. So since the last show, the Super Bowl has concluded, and the Kansas City Chiefs are the winner of the Super Bowl for back-to-back years, and they are looking to go back-to-back-to-back is what they're saying. So there's no more football for like 200 days, something close to that, and everyone is just wishing that they had Patrick Mahomes on their team. So Patrick Mahomes was MVP of the Super Bowl once again, and just an amazing effort. And it was a great Super Bowl. It was very close, and Brock Purdy looked good. The 49ers looked great, but I think Patrick Mahomes is just kind of that guy right now. He is him, as they like to say. That's another thing I don't like hearing. He's him. That's him right there. That's Patrick Mahomes. But he really is an amazing football player, getting up there into rarefied air, and really going to miss the football for the offseason. So the only Panthers news I've heard is they're most likely going to franchise tag Brian Burns. It looks like they're going to try to sign Frankie Louvu, and then it looks like they're going to try to get a receiver, whether that be Brandon Ayuk or T. Higgins or Mike Evans. Those have been some names I've seen floated out there. So I think I'm a fan of all those ideas. So I'm just interested in seeing some of that. I think the combine's in a couple weeks, and then we'll have the draft. So those are the next really big milestones for football. But other than that, it's the off season, and Chiefs are the champs, and just got to start looking forward to next season with the Panthers. So that's the hope there. So one of the official NBA teams of the Dep Lewis Show, one of the newer teams added in this list, is the Charlotte Hornets. Since I live close to the Hornets, I can go see some of those games in person pretty easily now. And I went to see a game last Monday night. So a friend of the show, King Tut, came to town, and we went to see a game. It was a rainy day in Charlotte, but we survived. We didn't melt on the way to the game, and the Hornets won. So they played the Pacers last Monday. We got to see Halliburton play, which was very exciting, and we didn't get to see Buddy Hield because he had just gotten traded a couple days prior, but we got to see Halliburton, and we got to see the Hornets win, and it was a good game, and it got a little bit exciting there towards the end, and new guys in the mix were looking good, Seth Curry and Grant, and then Bridges was out there balling with Miller. That particular night, Bertans could not make a shot, and that was pretty sad because we looked up that he's the highest payrolled player on the Hornets right now, making $17 million a year. But the new look Hornets have been good, and I feel like their energy's been good. Look like they're enjoying playing out there, and they don't even have LaMelo back yet. So hopefully can just see some more progress to end the season for the Hornets, getting Brandon Miller all the greatest reps, and they're looking pretty good. They've been fun to watch, so that's been interesting for me. And we had a great time at the game, and nothing really bad to say there. It was a great day. Go see some basketball. So I also went to see some more basketball. This time was by myself on Wednesday night because they were playing the Hawks. So that's normally the official NBA team of the show. Been a Hawks fan for a long time, but now I'm semi-Hornets fan as well. So I actually went to this game, and the Hornets won again. So this is the second time I've seen the Hornets beat the Hawks this year in person. The Hawks did not look very good. They weren't passing the body language or the vibe checks. You could just kind of notice the difference. Very low energy. I don't know if it's because right before All-Star, but I think it's just a bad look in general. They didn't have much juice, and not passing the body language check. But I always like to see Ice Trae in person, and DeJounte and the other guys, and DeAndre Hunter actually had a pretty good night, and Jalen Johnson was doing well. But they got beat by the Hornets. That's a pretty bad look. The Hawks, I think they were definitely favored in that game, but they weren't ever dominating the game, and the Hornets actually won. So, I don't know. I think it's bad news bears for the Hawks. I hope that hopefully they can close out the season in a good manner. But the All-Star break's been going on, so been watching some of that. I watched the three-point contest, and I saw Brandon Miller was playing in the Rising Stars contest, but I didn't watch that. So the only thing I watched really from All-Star Weekend was a little bit of the skills challenge, since that was right before the three-point contest, and that was the main event for me, was the three-point contest. So we had a little bet going in our group chat, and I had Trey and I had Halliburton, and they both made it pretty far, but didn't end up winning. So Dame Time won, and friend of the show Merck won some cash from the group, and it was a great day to be Merck. But the All-Star stuff was okay. I think the three-point contest is the best part of the All-Star weekend, and I watched some of the game last night, but I wasn't watching it very seriously because they don't take it very seriously themselves. But I had it on in the background. Dame Lillard won MVP of the All-Star game, and I am ready for a normal basketball to resume. So it was nice to get to see a couple games in person last week before the break, and then now I'm ready to get back into watching basketball mode. So I don't know exactly when that starts back, but I would assume it's this week. Maybe midweek is my guess, but I'll be talking about it next week on the show for sure, since I love talking about the sports. So that's about it for the NBA. And the final thing I want to talk about is the Atlanta Braves, the official baseball team of the show, my favorite team in the universe. I still want a Max Fried extension, so I'm calling for that. And then pitchers and catchers have reported to spring training. And Braves had some other guys in the building early on too, and now they're all there practicing, so life is good. Getting visions of baseball dancing in my head on Twitter and actually seeing some footage, seeing some balls being thrown, some bats making connections, and it's just the best if you're a sports, or it's my favorite sports thing in the world. So get to see Chris Sale rocking number 51, and I don't know how I feel about that. That's taking over Will Smith's number, who is a roller coaster ride of a player, but they also won a World Series with Will Smith there, so hopefully Chris Sale can emulate the same outcome. And people have been complaining about these new jerseys. I think I pointed out on here the other week, and when King Tut was here too, I was showing him that the new Braves jerseys have been updated. Just a few minor changes, but they definitely look different. I don't really think it looks worse, but people are out there complaining. And then people are also complaining about the spring training jerseys, which I don't know if I'd be running out to buy one, but I think they look cool. I think they look like a jersey fit for spring training, but people were saying they look worse than like a high school jersey or something like that. But I don't know. I'm just excited to see it all. It's been fun seeing Ronald Acuna. I think I've liked him probably 95 different posts from him, showing him on Twitter being back, just doing Ronald Acuna things around the ballpark. And I just can't wait for March 28th. So March 28th is the start of baseball season. I believe it's a Thursday. And then the minor league season here in North Carolina starts on April 2nd. So I can go see some AAA White Sox baseball in person, which has been the first year I lived here last year, and I had some fun going to see that. So very exciting times with baseball on the horizon. And it's the most wonderful time of the year, according to me. So that's all I want to say about the sports this week. Quick little section just about the worldwide world of sports. So we talked about the Panthers, we talked about the Hornets, we talked about the Hawks, and we finished talking about the Braves. And that is also going to wrap up this entire show, this entire Dep Lewis Show, episode 67, coming out to you a day late and a dollar short on a President's Day. But hey, I have the day off today, so it's a wonderful day to record a podcast. It's early in the morning, so I have half the day to do whatever I want, and hopefully you are off as well. And if not, hopefully you can listen to this podcast to get you through the rest of your day. That would be a nice goal out there too. So let me just do some promotional things again to please help out this show. Just want to reiterate some things from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. And then the ultimate place to follow is Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show. Right now it's $1 a month for the ground floor tier for the first 100 patrons. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. I believe there's been maybe 13 of those done so far. This podcast releases midweek and is a great way to get additional content and support the show. And then after the first 100 patrons, this regular price for this tier will begin. Ground floor tier pricing will never change, and you will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. So just thank you for the support. And the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show is just a midweek show exclusive to Patreon. It's a podcast without a plan, so I just hit record and go. I sometimes just ramble on about stuff, or I sometimes just read the internet and tell you about what's going on in my day. But I think it's a great midweek insight on what's going on with me, and you get a little insight of what's going on in the video game world and sports world. Kind of my two main topics, but you never know what you're going to get, but you're going to get some type of midweek update there on the Patreon. So I think it's a great place to support, and I have fun doing it. And please go check it out. And you can listen to the main show on Patreon if you'd like to as well. So I think it's a great hub to get all the Dep Lewis Show content, and it's definitely the only place you can get all the Dep Lewis Show content. So go check out patreon.com/DepLewisShow. And I just want to thank you for listening. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week out there. I hope you... I'm trying to think. I have a 4-day work week coming up, and then I have the whole week off after that. So I'm taking some vacation, but the show's not taking a vacation, so I'll just be having time to play some games, do whatever I want. I let my hair down and just, feel the breeze and just have a great time. So I got to get through 4 days of work this week. Then I have an entire week off. So I'm going to be back next week with some more video game talk as always. And midweek with the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. So just thank you for your support. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. And I will talk to you next week on another episode of the Dep Lewis Show. Just thank you for being a listener and have a great one.